Hi there and welcome to Gaining Vision. I'm Melanie. Have you subscribed to the channel yet? If not, please hit subscribe. Also, encourage people to view it by liking and sharing. In discussions with a few people over the last week or so, one of the topics that they said they'd love to hear me talk about is dating and relationships with a disability. So, there obviously is some challenges when dating somebody with a disability or as a person with a disability. First things first, how do you meet people? Automatically, people think people with disabilities should be in relationships with other people with disabilities, but that's not always the case. I remember when I first lost my vision, I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to meet anybody? It's not like I can go to a bar and stare across the bar and make eye contact. Not that I want to meet anybody at a bar, but that eye contact piece was gone. So that whole aspect of having to meet somebody was different. And that's the same for anybody with a disability. Now, if you have a visible disability, if you're in a wheelchair or use a mobility device, or if you're blind or that sort of thing, that somebody can tell, then it can be somewhat challenging because a lot of people shy away. They're not sure what's really involved in dating somebody or getting into a relationship with somebody with a disability. Some people just stay clear because they think, oh, it's going to be too much work. It's going to be a lot of responsibility for myself. But the reality is, it's not. It's just a little different. Easy to accommodate. Because after all, we're just individuals. We're normal people that happen to have a disability. So let's talk about the dating process. So how to meet somebody, whether they have a disability or not. Obviously, the conventional ways, you meet through a friend, somebody that sets you up on a blind date. Somebody could say, I know the perfect person for you, and introduce you. You can meet in a crowd of people. But you also could then put a profile online. But then the question is, if you have a disability that's not visible, it's invisible, or that you don't look blind or you don't act like you have a disability because you're not in a mobility device, the question then becomes, when do you disclose? A lot of my clients in the past have said, oh, I should put the fact that I have a disability on my dating profile. And I said, why would you do that? You're setting yourself short. You want people to first get the glimpse of who you are as a person. Not that you're hiding your disability, but you want them to like you for who you are and not turn them away because of their insecurities of individuals with disabilities. So you want to make sure that you have all of those factors. So, for example, you could talk about your disability in your profile if you really wanted, but you want to gear it in a positive way. So perhaps you're a Paralympic athlete. That is impressive. It also states you have a disability. That's optional. You don't have to disclose that. You can also tell somebody after a while, before you actually meet them, about your disability. When you meet somebody, you want to be as honest and upfront as possible without not getting a fair chance. You want to make sure that you're honest, because if you're going to get into a relationship with this person, they're going to know you inside and out. You want to tell them what you can and can't do. It's important to be transparent with that, and it's important to tell them, to give them a fair opportunity to decide whether they want to continue dating you or not. And that's their prerogative, right? Let's face it, not everybody's going to be comfortable dating somebody with a disability. But having a relationship with somebody with a disability is a little bit more involved. You have to be very patient because there are things that we do differently, things that take longer, such as getting dressed. Perhaps the individual may have a support person that's around a lot. Somebody may need to only use accessible transportation or may need an accommodated vehicle, things like that. For myself, it was a matter of making sure that my husband knew what I could and couldn't see. He still saw the fact that I was very independent and I was able to do a lot of things, but I had to be very honest with him because he was going to be with me for the rest of my life. He's had to learn to adapt because it is different than dating somebody that can easily get ready and go. It takes me a lot longer. And perhaps sometimes I need a little bit of assistance here and there. You have to have open dialogue with somebody when you're in a relationship with them, no matter what. But when you have a disability, you have to understand, especially if it's an invisible disability, what that actually means. Perhaps there's some mental health issues or some anxiety or depression. You have to be open to have those conversations with the person you're getting into a relationship with. In any relationship, you don't want to hide these things from them, because it's important for you to be successful in any relationship, to be honest. If you start on a really shaky ground by keeping secrets and not disclosing everything, and it found out, they'll probably be bitter and leave quicker. Relationships are tough, but open dialogue and open communications will always be the key. And that's no different with somebody with a disability. There are always going to be those questions of why somebody without a disability is with somebody with a disability. People think they're taking advantage. It's not that at all. They see the individual as the human being and as a person that they could potentially fall in love with. Even relationships amongst individuals with disabilities, same thing there. You have to have those open conversations, because every disability is different and unique. And you have to understand that every relationship may not work out whether we have a disability or not. So we have to nip it in the bud if it's a disability factor. Some of the suggestions or conversations we had this week was having people understand by giving them examples of things you can't do or things you have difficulties doing, and showing how you accommodate them. So, for example, somebody may not be able to cook because of their disability, but they may have a support person that comes in to help out with that. Having that conversation with them, their partner, will help them understand what that looks like. Now, some partners are not comfortable having a support person in the picture. They think it may interfere with the relationship. But the reality is that support person is actually a very important part. And the reason for that is, in relationships with people with disabilities, sometimes the other partner feels responsible to take on a lot of the workload. And that's not always fair to them. And it also makes the person with a disability sometimes feel less than adequate, and as if they're less somehow not contributing to the relationship. Having these discussions and putting myths or misconceptions to rest at the very beginning of a relationship is important. And of course, in any relationship, you're going to learn and grow and develop something on an ongoing basis with your partner. Continuous conversation is important, and seeing the person for their abilities and not their disability is essential. Every human being has something to give to a relationship, maybe in a different way, it may be accommodated, it may be a special way, but they do if they're given the opportunity. Everybody with a disability wants to be in a relationship, just like you and I, but a lot of people don't want to give them the opportunities because they see the disability first. And we have to get past that. We need people to understand that although somebody may be having a disability, invisible or visible, they're just like you and me. They're human beings, and they just have other talents and gifts that you have to dig deeper to find. They deserve to be loved, and they can love just as strongly. Do you know somebody in your life with a disability? Are they in a relationship? Are you in a relationship with somebody with a disability? Or are you an individual with a disability looking for a relationship? No matter what the situation is, it's important to ensure that the relationship is healthy and for the right reasons. There are people there who will take advantage of people with disabilities in relationships. Abuse amongst individuals with disabilities in relationships is higher. And unfortunately, some people are just thinking that they could take advantage and get what they want. And that's unfortunate, and that's something that we have to protect ourselves from as individuals with disabilities. But we also have to show reality to everybody out there that all of us are equal. We all have the right and the ability to have loving, healthy relationships. It's interesting. Individuals with disabilities will be the first to tell you, dating's a pain. Having to do the spiel every time they say is overwhelming. But if we don't do it, relationships are doomed from the beginning. So I encourage you all to enjoy healthy relationships. Have open conversation and dialogue with whoever your partner is. Let them know what you need when you need it. And that goes for you if you have a disability or not. Until next time, I encourage you to enjoy your relationships. Do that extra something special this week for the one you love. And please subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to like and share. Until next time, catch you next one.